Hello, I'm Ndimyake, Mwakalyelye. Vincent McCory is off today. This is Africa 54. We'll have more on those stories in a moment, but we begin in Pretoria, South Africa, where the defense team of Olympic sprinter Oscar Pistorius questioned the credibility and reliability of a prosecution witness on the second day of the athlete's high-profile murder trial. Witness Michelle Berger was cross-examined by defense lawyers Tuesday, a day after testifying that she heard screams followed by gunshots, then more screams in the early hours of February 14, 2013. Berger lives less than 200 meters from Pistorius' Pretoria home. Pistorius has admitted to shooting model Reeva Steenkamp, but said he mistakenly believed he was firing at an intruder. Prosecutors say Pistorius killed Steenkamp after an argument. Now, for more details on the Pistorius trial today, we turn to VOA correspondent Anita Powell, who's on the phone with us from Pretoria. Hi, Anita.
Hi, Ndimmy.
So paint a picture for us about what happened today in the court. And
Sure. So we heard from Ms. Berger again and from two other witnesses. And this real star of the show today was defense attorney Barry Rue. As you know, this trial has been followed very closely on Twitter. And one of my favorite comments was somebody in South Africa who said, "I want Barry Rue to negotiate my bride price for me," because he was just fierce in court today. He hammered Michelle Berger, sorry. One could say he even grilled her and didn't manage to bring her down, but he certainly tried.
Now, what about all this other spectacle regarding her being exposed by the media? This was supposed to be an open court, or at least publicly accessible?
Right. So Michelle Berger had specified, as is her right, that she didn't want her testimony to be televised. Rather, she didn't want her face to be televised. We could hear her, but most people who saw the broadcast couldn't see her. One local news channel found a photo of her online fairly easily and put it up on TV as she was testifying. And when the judge found out about this, she was pretty quick to say that that was not allowed, and she may take more action against the media if they continue to do things like this.
How much interest is there on the Pistorius trial in South Africa?
It is probably the only thing that's being talked about on the radio. No, I mean, that's not true. A famous cricketer, he retired yesterday, and that's the only other thing, really. But it is really dominating the discussion in South Africa. People are paying very close attention to it.
And can you tell us exactly what the nature of this interest is? Is it because of Pistorius and what he represents as this Olympian who seemed to break so many barriers, you know, having both legs missing, or it's a larger issue? It's about human rights. What is it?
Well, I mean, first of all, this is a universal story because it hits that trifecta of sex, celebrity, and sports, and darkened by the specter of a possible murder. So you have that. But also South Africa, you know, it's for many South Africans their first exposure to the justice system, so that's interesting. But also there's some very deep-seated issues. I know this is a complex point, but basically there's a lot of fear in South Africa around the crime levels. And so many South Africans are watching his testimony with great interest to kind of try to understand how some South Africans see this fear and think about this fear. And it's really interesting, and it's definitely exposing interesting sides of this society.
I imagine. Well, obviously, this is just day two of the trial. Yesterday, there was the first witness. Today, the defense countered what she said. Any other witnesses today, and what's to be expected moving forward?
Sure. We heard two more witnesses, both neighbors. That was Estelle van der Merwe. She is a closer neighbor of Oscar Pistorius. She said that she heard loud arguing for more than an hour before she heard 4 bangs, which was mistranslated as gunshots and then rightly corrected to explosions. Anyway, she said that she heard they were bangs. Her husband told her they were definitely gunshots. Then we also heard from Charles Johnson, who is the husband of Estelle van der Merwe, the husband of Michelle Berger, the first witness. And he, so far, has largely stuck to her to the same story that she has, which isn't surprising. Her husband and wife, they were in the same room when it happened. But we haven't heard everything from him yet.
Yesterday you said you did see Pistorius. He seemed a picture of confidence, but then I'm reading in the papers today that he was breaking down. Is that so?
Yes. It was during a very dramatic sequence during the Berger cross-examination when Ruth said, and this is a bit graphic, I'm sorry, he said that it was impossible for Berger to hear Reeva Steenkamp screaming because she had been shot in the head and she would have been too brain damaged to scream, which is a gory and awful picture. And at this, Oscar did start to cry in the doc, and that's not unexpected. I mean, it was pretty graphic testimony, pretty graphic description there.
Well, we'll wait to hear what happens next. Thank you so much, VOA correspondent Anita Powell, on the phone with us from Pretoria, where she's been following the Oscar Pistorius trial.